Hello beautiful people. I wanted to start a series on my channel where I would get ready with you guys and do my makeup, and I would talk about understanding your Chinese astrological chart and or your Chinese zodiac. So in this first video I'm going to actually talk about how the animals came to be, like where the zodiac even comes from. It's a cute little fable. I believe that's what it's called when the animals talk. I really hope you guys enjoy the series. I spent a lot of time doing the research and getting ready to work on it. Long ago, the Jade Emperor decided he was going to select 12 animals to be his guards. So he decided that he was going to host a race in order to determine who would be his guards. So he sent an immortal being into the man's world to tell the animals that he would be hosting a race. So the animals that were invited to the race was the rat, Lo Xu, the ox, Lang, the tiger, Lo Fu, the rabbit, Tou Zhe, the dragon, Long, the snake, Sei, the horse, Ma, the goat, Yuan, the monkey, Ma Lao, the rooster, Gai, the dog, Gao, the pig, Ju, and the cat, Mao. So the animals all lined up at the river bank. So the animals, they all got together and they lined up at the riverbank. So because the rat and the mouse aren't very good at swimming, they decide to ask the ox if he would be willing to carry them across the river. So the ox agrees that he will indeed take them across the river, and the rat and the cat, they're thrilled because they're not that great at swimming, so they need the help. And they're really excited because the ox is taking the lead. So at the very last second, when they see the finish line, which is Heaven's Gate, coming into view, the rat, he pushes the cat off. After pushing the cat off of the ox, the rat, he leaps across the finish line, and the emperor awards him second place, and the ox is second due to being tricked by the rat. So yeah, the rat scammed the cat. We're gonna talk a little bit more about the cat at the end. Now, the tiger, he ends up coming in third place due to the fact that there were very strong currents going downstream against him. So he found it very difficult to swim in the river. A thumping sound could be heard in the distance, and soon enough the rabbit appeared, but instead of swimming, he had hopped along stones to make it to the finish line. At one point during the race, it looked like the rabbit would lose, but he was lucky enough to grab onto a floating log, and the log floated him to the finish line, and the rabbit secured fourth place in this race. The dragon came in fifth, so the emperor was a little surprised, and he asked the dragon why such a majestic creature that could fly wouldn't have come in first place. So the dragon told the emperor that he flew by a village that was suffering from a drought, and the dragon decided that he would stop and bring rainwater to the village so that they would have water. Also, the dragon noticed that below the rabbit was struggling. So he blew a puff of air to help the rabbit get across the finish line, and the emperor was impressed by the dragon's good nature, and the dragon was established as the fifth animal in the zodiac. Right after the dragon secured fifth place, you could hear a loud galloping sound. First saw the horse emerge. However, the snake was hidden in the horse's hoof and he jumped out, scaring the poor horse, and therefore the snake secured sixth place while the horse had to settle for 7th. So what I'm getting here is that a lot of these animals, they're scammers. They're definitely scammers. Which will come up when I actually start discussing each animal individually. Shortly after, a raft floated down to the heavenly gate, and on this raft was the goat, the monkey, and the rooster. We're going to be using the Love Signs Zodiac palette for our eyeshadow. BH Cosmetics, if you want to hit me up for a Chinese Zodiac collab. The DMs are open. So the rooster found the raft while the monkey and the goat cleared out the weeds and pushed the raft to shore. So the emperor was very impressed by the fact that the 3 animals had worked together. He was very impressed by their teamwork. So he declared that the goat would be 8th, the monkey 9th, and the rooster 10th. I'm a little unsure how he came to this conclusion because it seems that they arrived on the same raft, and it's kind of hard to say like who played a more important part, because from what I remember and my research, the rooster, he found the raft, but the goat was the one who pulled the weeds and the monkey was the one who pushed it to shore. So I guess you could argue that the monkey, no, did he really do more physical labor? I guess because the rooster, right, like, yeah, he found the raft, and the goat, I mean, clearing weeds, that's a lot of labor also, but so is pushing it to shore. So I'm like I'm not entirely sure how, I guess, I don't know, he's the emperor, he's got his ways, like, I don't know, am I even allowed to question him like that, right? It's like the emperor's decree or whatever. So there was a bark and the dog came running up to the finish line. So the emperor says to the dog, he's like, hey, aren't you like really good at climbing things as well as swimming? Why are you so close to the end of the list of animals? So the dog had gotten distracted playing in the water, as dogs do. But to save face, he told the emperor that he needed a nice long bath to wash off a curse that somebody had tried to put on him. And with that, the dog secured himself the 11th spot. The emperor was ready to call the race off when he heard a clink. And lo and behold, the pig approached the finish line. The emperor asked the pig what the heck happened to him, and the pig told the emperor, sir, I got hungry halfway during the race, so I decided to get myself a snack. Then, on top of getting himself a snack, the pig, he fell asleep. He had the itis, okay? He can't, he had a big snack. He could not help it. He succumbed to a food coma, and he napped for a majority of the race before waking up and realizing that the race was almost done, and he rushed to go, and he rushed to get to the finish line as quickly as he could. Good thing, because he got there when the emperor was just about ready to call the whole thing over. But luckily, the pig, he made it in time, and the emperor declared the pig the 12th animal in the zodiac. So you're probably wondering what happened to the sweet, sweet cat. There are a few variations of this story. I know it is pretty common among Southeast and East Asian cultures. Depending on the version you were told, certain animals might be different. Like, I believe in some stories it's a sheep and not a goat, or a chicken instead of rooster, rat versus mouse, that type of thing. It depends on what story you were told. The story that I told you guys initially is a story that I remember hearing about as a child, and I did have to do a little bit of internet research because I've forgotten some of the details. Like, I knew what order the animals came in, but I don't remember specifically what happened to them. And because there is 12 animals involved, so certain animals got like I feel like a bigger backstory. Like the dragon, he helped the village. The dragon helped the village, and he also was able to help the rabbit by with that poof of air. So a few variations in the story specifically pertaining to the cat, because the poor cat, he doesn't get his he's not going to get his own video because he's not in the zodiac. So I mentioned in the beginning that the emperor had sent an immortal being down to the gates of heaven to let the animals know that there was a race. So in some versions, the cat wasn't home. I don't know, he was probably out chasing a bird or something. He wasn't home, and you know, the immortal being, he's like, knock, knock, knock. The cat's not there. So he asked the rat if he will tell the cat about the race, and the rat says yes, but he, because of his long ongoing feud with the cat, he decides to not tell the cat about the race. The cat doesn't show up, and therefore that's why he is not one of the animals in the zodiac. Like I said, the initial ending I gave you guys was the rat pushed the cat off of the ox, so that, because the cat drowned, obviously, so they don't I think because this is like meant to be a story for children, for fun, what is it, folk tales, whatever, the one where the animals talk, and there's supposed to be like a lesson or something. I think that because of that, they just say that the cat drowned. It doesn't say that he died, but I feel like logically that must have been what happened to the cat, because he was pushed off. So because of that, that is why the story explains why cats hate the water, because they drowned. Some other versions of the story state that the rat and the cat actually asked the dog if they could be on top of him. So in this version of the story, the rat antagonizes the cat, and the cat attacks the rat, but he misses and he attacks the dog instead. And because of that, because the cat attacks the rat, he jumps ahead to the finish line. And this is also supposed to explain why rats, cats, and dogs don't get along with each other, because the rat, he's a scammer. He scammed everyone. I can't remember exactly in this version how the dog ended up all the way in 5th place. Presumably what happened is, I'm going to assume, because I tried researching the story more, but the problem is because like I don't speak Chinese. Well, I don't read it either. I can't read and write it either. So a lot of the texts I read were translated from Chinese to English. So I just basically, in my point, right, they say like there's a primary source, second. So basically I don't know how to read the original text and find out, or specifically what happened to the dog in this instance, why he was not able to make it to second place. Because he must have been pretty close to the front if the rat was able to jump ahead to the finish line like that and still be in first place, because the order of the animals is still like the Chinese zodiac. It's the Chinese zodiac. The animals are still going to be the same. So what happened in that version, I'm not really sure. If you know, if this is the version you were told, please tell me what happens to the animals, because where the rat and the cat are on top of the dog, how the rat managed to come in first place. I think in some other versions the rat takes the ox, but the cat takes a different animal. Maybe that's what it was, is that the rat was on the ox and the cat was on the dog. But that's why, according to the story, rats, cats, and dogs don't get along. Okay, so I got through the story quicker than I thought I would, so I'm gonna quickly finish up my face makeup and stuff. So now that I told you guys the story of how the animals ended up in the zodiac, each week I will be filming a video about the animals of the zodiac in order that they appear in the story or the zodiac, and talk about the characteristics of each zodiac. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. I didn't realize how quickly I would get through the story, so hopefully is better planned. But this is like not the first time I've done like a video doing my makeup where I talk to you guys. It's like the first one where I'm telling like a story, and I didn't really know where it would be going when I initially sat. Well, obviously I knew the story, but I didn't realize how quickly I would get through it before telling you guys the rest. I didn't realize how quickly I would get through it, and how long I take to do my makeup. I think because usually I just kind of ramble and it's like fine, but there was a point to the story that I have to get to. Okay guys, that's it. That is the completed look. I'm sorry that my timing was a little poor, where I told the story faster than I thought, but in my defense, I think, like I said, it's a children's story, so I don't think it's meant to be like super long. There's probably details in other variations of the story or from different cultures that you look at that I'm missing, but like I said, I tried to stick with the story that I remembered as a child, and I did supplement it with some research from the internet. But if it didn't seem familiar to me, or like if I couldn't recall that I had been told that, I didn't include it. In the future I might do a video going more in depth into the different variations of the story, but like I said, this is the version that I recall best from my childhood. And starting next week, there will be videos of each individual animal and what it means. Comment, like, and subscribe if you made it this far. And thank you guys so much for sticking around until the end. Bye!